In this video, we are going to show you the most powerful attack strategies at Town Hall 10 in Clash of Clans. We have ground attacks, we have air attacks, we've got tips and tricks for every one of them to help you get the 3 stars, so be sure to stick around and let me know which strategy is your favorite. But without further ado, let's get into it. Alrighty guys, diving straight into this first one. We're bringing you this first because it is an attack by myself. We're using the Dragbat attack strategy. So if I pause for a second, I am going to bring the queen in to try and shave out all of these buildings. Thought I'd sneak a couple of loons in order to take that archer tower, just basically allow the queen a bit more time through them buildings. And I'm going to do the same thing over this side using the king. Now this was a fresh hit, but I thought my plan was solid, and as you will see, it most certainly is. So we use the queen to take out this, the king to sort out this area. Notice the sweepers pointing this way and this way. I should be able to get my dragons in from this area onto the multi and the wizard tower relatively easily. That was the plan initially, and that's exactly what you want to do if you are using the Dragbat strategy. You need to have a funnel set up. I've done that with the queen in this area and the king in this area. You need to be able to come into the base where the dragons aren't going to be getting blasted by air defense, single inferno, and have a sweeper to contend with as well. So they're all things you need to consider. I do bring in some loons ahead of the dragons. They basically just test for any black bombs, and if there's none, then you're basically going to take out some defenses whilst you're at it. Now basically at this point, I have to have a plan for the back end as well. The dragons wouldn't get right the way through. You will notice these 2 air defense here and this multi-inferno. I decided to send a slammer straight in here, but in order to take this area out as well, you can see there's a wizard tower alongside them. Decided to use a haste when they came out. That's not all. Once the dragons get over to this area, you will see on the right hand side of the base, there's only 1 wizard tower and a bunch of other defenses, so that is where the bat spell will be used along with the rage and the freeze. Once the dragons get to that area, I had to make sure that the enemy dragon came out, and I also want to make sure that the enemy queen is occupied here as well. So as the dragons get further, I've used a rage spell to get them dragons through. I'd highly recommend that. The queen is locked onto them. In comes the haste for the balloons to take out that wizard tower and the air defense protecting the dragons, and the bat spells have done a fantastic job over at the top end of the base. So summarizing the bat spell dragon attack for you. The bat spells you cannot use in areas where there's splash unless you have a plan for it. So you either need to bring in some troops on the outside in order to tank for the wizard towers, or you need to freeze it. Essentially, you're looking for an area of the base where there's not a huge amount of splash. But the splash damage is good for the dragons. They're not really going to take any damage, so you can use that to hammer through the base. But the dragons can split up. So that's exactly where this strategy has to be used and timed correctly. So I had the stone slammer come in order to take out that bottom area of the base, made sure the dragons didn't get lost coming down to the bottom of the base. They maintained their path through the middle right to the area where we already had the bats. So be sure to give it a try. It's a very, very powerful strategy. But let's move on to the next one, which is going to incorporate a queen charge. Now if you are new to the channel guys, be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell. You will be able to stay up to date with all of my videos as soon as they go live. Now at the end of the video, I'm also going to link for you the top 5 Town Hall 10 attacks right now. This is just given in a bit of a random order, gave you the different strategies in select, ground, air, tried to swap them a little bit, but at the end of the video, make sure to watch the one that ranks them right the way up to the best. So the queen charge, what kind of tips do you want for the queen charge? This can be used to integrate to any strategy. We have the miners coming up as well, but the queen has taken out essentially an area of the base and she's going to press into it. So you can see where I've drawn the X's. That's where we had a couple of troops to create a funnel so that our queen is drawn into the base. Now I wanted to show you this attack. There was a few queen charges in this war, but this one works very well because of the wall breakers. Essentially, if you can use wall breakers, perfect. but it is a little bit harder to use. Make sure you're sending in a test wall breaker first, just in case there's any bombs in that area, or if you've already had a scout attack, you might not have to do that. But essentially the queen has taken out the enemy CC troops and the enemy queen, and she's also taken out this area of the base, look. So our Lalo can now path in behind this sweeper, which is pointing up to the top, and circle right the way around. Yes, the sweeper does eventually attract fire onto the Lalo, but essentially we can get around it relatively easily, and the queen has stripped out that right hand side of the base in order to help the pathing of the Lalo. Now obviously you are bringing hounds in towards the air defense and then bringing in your loons. If your loons are tanked, try not to use too many spells early on. That's something that I do and it never really works out. Try and use the spells to maximum benefit. So you want to use them in the center of the base there where the loons are clumped together. You can get good value, but also towards the end. That's where your loons are going to be clumped up. That's when they're vulnerable to splash damage, to red air bombs. Have them haste in order to take them down, and also consider sending in a single loon if you are going to be finishing up on a wizard tower. Now I've got to tell you guys, the Lalo does take a bit of practice, so any tips and tricks I give you in this video, be sure to take them out into friendly challenge. Do not expect to just go out and slam a base straight away using this strategy. But let's get on to the next one. We are going to be showing you another ground attack. In fact, the first ground attack. The first two were air, however, we'll move through them. This one being the Hog Riders, another very powerful strategy at Town Hall 10, and definitely one that you should consider trying to learn. Now, if you're watching this video thinking, heck, which strategy do I pick? I'd actually recommend trying to learn this one, the Hog Riders, because it will give you a lot of key fundamental skills which can be transferred into other strategies in that of a kill squad, but the end part of the attack is a little bit more user friendly than the LavaLoon. Now you can see down at the left hand side of your screen, the king takes out the enemy king as a bit of a king swap, you might hear that being called, and basically the enemy king can hit your hogs and take them out relatively quickly. But we've also created a funnel and sent our main kill squad into the center. That's taken out again the enemy clan castle troops and the enemy queen, a couple of key defenses that you'll want to try and take out on a lot of occasions. Similar to the Lalo, with the Hog Riders, they are defense targeting troops, so you need to take out defenses in order to control their pathing. That sounds very basic, guys, but essentially your kill squad is not just taking out some key objectives, it's helping you to path the Hog Riders correctly, and as you can see, we know exactly where they are going in this strategy, meaning that you can put your spells appropriately to keep them alive. Now you may want to snipe off some defenses on the side, that is basically bringing in surgically some extra hogs, or as you've seen in this one, trying to do that with a loon, trying to take out the defenses on the outside to keep your Hog Riders condensed together on the inside. The one thing with the Hog Riders which the Lalo doesn't have to worry about as much is these cleanup troops. Basically you don't have lava pups that will finish up the base once your lava hounds have burst, so you do need to consider getting some troops in afterwards in order to take out them trash buildings as well. But that is the Hog Riders for you. Again, I'm showing you kind of one little snippet of each strategy. There's a number of different ways of doing it, and essentially you can do a mass Hog Rider. As you get better with your kill squad, try and ease back off it a little bit. Try and see if you can take a lesser kill squad, still get the value you need, but then work pathing of the Hog Riders. Try and bring them in surgically around the base. Think of a star, bring them in from the outside of the base so that they condense in the middle. That is exactly how you will be trying to path the hogs. Now each one of these attacks are by crunch time in just a random spin against power CoC, two very high level clans, both very much recruiting for the CWL invite moving forward, so a fun little matchup this one. But obviously I cover crunch time, you see my attack there, I'm competing with them. Don't know about CWN invite, we'll get to that maybe, but I'm going to be competing with them. If you want to join us, we are recruiting maxed Town Hall 11 and 12 players. Join my Discord server, you'll find everything you need to know. Now what about the miners, another ground attack? This is a strategy which is often overlooked, I feel, at Town Hall 10. They can be very good, especially on condensed bases. Anything where you can control the pathing of the miners can work very well. So as the raid develops here, you will get to see what we're talking about. So again, the Queen Charge, think about it as an entry if you can. We've got a sweeper all the way over here, one down here, so we don't have to worry about that pushing our healers back. The air defense, they are out of range of the healers really. We don't have to worry about that. As with the multis, they are not set to single, they're not going to fry our queen, so bringing in the queen from that area as long as you set up that funnel is brilliant. In we come with the king from the north of the base, and check out what he's doing. He's taking out all of these trash buildings on the outside so that the miners can concentrate on this central part of the base. Again, look at how thickly compact the defenses are. The miners are a little bit slow, so if you can get them onto defenses and allow them to take them down quickly, then that's your ideal scenario. So on this one, they're pretty much going through the entire base. Once they get towards the end, they do start to split out to the side here a little bit, but it's too late for the defender at this point. The miners have done their job. The queen is still alive as well over in that area, and we're using freeze spells just for fun on the multi-infernos. Now if you're asking about miners, what kind of spells do you want to use? Heal spells will be your best friend. The miners are too good for the rage spells. The only time you would use a rage spell is if you had a couple of multi-infernos or high HP, high damage buildings that you'd need to get down, but there was also maybe storages there and you had to get them buildings down quick. A rage might be beneficial, but the miners under rage are going to be too quick. And this is Town Hall 10 we're talking. If you're moving up to Town Hall 11 and 12, you might use it for the Eagle or the Giga. It really just depends on what level you are, but take the heal spells. They are going to be very helpful for the miners, and plan out where you are going to use them. Again, with most of these strategies, I do actually have videos honing in on each individual strategy by itself. So if you want to look at the Town Hall 10 videos specifically, head on over to my homepage and there's a playlist right there saying Town Hall 10 attacks. Be sure to check out any videos in specific that interest you for that one. Now for the final attack of the video, we're moving back to the Lalo, but we're coming in at this one a little bit different. Now the main thing I wanted to highlight on this one is a lot of strategies. If you plan your attacks correctly, you can fail part of it and still get away. So you might see Wallbreaker fail right here. Didn't quite get the queen into the base like we wanted, but we can actually still get good value from this. So even if we hadn't have planned that, if we'd have planned the Sui Hero method, we'd have still got the air defense, we'd have still taken out the defenses here, taken down the base a little bit in terms of its width, but that's not what was planned here. Essentially, we can still get the 3 stars. So what I want to get across here is don't give up. If you choose one of these powerful strategies and you get it down correctly, you can still get the 3 stars. Just plod on. Don't give up if your attack starts to go pear-shaped. So in comes the Lava Hounds. They're obviously going straight to the air defense here, and we're able to try and get the loons onto that single as quickly as possible with the use of a haste to try and protect the hounds if possible. Now here's where the queen not getting into the base kind of messes with the attack a little bit. You can see we've got the group of loons at the top, but we've also got a group that's in the middle of the base here as well. That's because the pathing wasn't quite correct since the queen didn't get in. The loons have to come back over here, but essentially the attack is very powerful. It's blasted through all of the defenses very effectively, and we've still got a lot of balloons left over. Now again, the LavaLoon is difficult to master, so be sure to practice it, but you've got to get the timing of them loons and the deployment of it correct. And as you can see, minions on the outside to help with cleanup as well. Again, if you can, try and save onto some balloons until later on in the raid. That is a big tip, to try and just take your time, be patient, it will pay off. So that wraps it up for these powerful attack strategies at Town Hall 10. If you want to see the top 5 ranked right the way up to the best strategy for 2019, click the video on your screen now. But that wraps it up for this one, guys. Until next time, peace out.